is again.
That, don't you? Get up right now.
There it is again, so strong.
Oh, yes.
Set that man that reaching out to hurting people. Hallelujah. This is what you do. Something more than it was. Amen.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Way back. Way back.
Now bring that bass out, man. Now bring that bass out, man.
Way back. Way back. Back.
Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go for a drive. Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go for a drive. Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go for a drive. Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go. Somehow, yeah, we can bring the. Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go for a drive. Tomorrow, go for a drive. Go for a drive. Tomorrow, for a drive. Go for a drive.
Since I was a boy, I've been headstrong, always had me a sense of right and wrong.
In a nutshell, Detroit sucks.
Been here on YouTube for 14 years, just busting chops and grinding gears.
Time to listen up, you silly liberal fruitcakes. You didn't make that shirt. You didn't build that.
4 years ago when things got dumb, I made me some calls and got me some money.
Yes, Louder with Crowder has gone daily.
And since 2016 on election night, Mug Club has survived. And Mug Club can survive.
That's not going to happen.
And then last year when the Vox thing hit, they tried to make me a hypocrite.
Steven Crowder is YouTube's ideal creator. He makes cheap, long content.
Tried to cancel us by one decree from Fox, Universal, and NBC.
We were at 40,000 people watching on YouTube, and then ABC decided to hit us with a copyright strike.
They couldn't make us apologize, cause Mug Club can survive. The Mug Club can survive.
Idiot ass back on campus.
No, you can't knock us down, and we ain't gonna run. No matter what they try, you know we ain't done. We say, sir, that ain't a man. If they don't like that, we don't give a damn.
So you should respect women.
I'm sorry, I am a woman, so fuck
Read
you.
through Wojcicki's guidelines, must have read them 1,000 times.
And in the end, we decided that it was not violative of our policies for harassment.
What she said we abided by, and a Mug Club can survive.
This guy's a fascist. Anyone know that?
Mug Club can survive.
Is this Stephen Crowder?
Yeah. I didn't you want a piece of me for a long time.
Now we'll log into YouTube, and what do I see? Once I scroll past Noah and Samantha B. My YouTube page is remonetized, cause Mug Club can survive. And Mug Club can survive.
You need to get out, or we're gonna call the police.
Leave my restaurant or I'm going to come here.
No, you can't knock us down, and we ain't gonna run. No matter what they try, you know we ain't done.
Hold on your thing.
We say, sir, that ain't a man. If they don't like that, we don't give a damn.
Why not? Good. You're a very violent, angry little fella.
If you think this will soften us up, then YouTube's got them a new laptop.
Nope.
And y'all are in for a big surprise, cause Mug Club can survive.
You guys have papers?
We've been remonetized. Cause Mug Club can survive.
What's that?
Mug Club can survive.
I'm here to shut down your book. You're here to shut me down.
Who the hell let you back on this thing? Subject for today.
That's worthy of a serious slurp.
Yeah.
Because it's the victory stream today. That wasn't a joke. I mean, it was kind of a joke. The whole YouTube platform has been a bit of a joke, but use the hashtag Crowder Remonetized everywhere on Twitter, Instagram. Let folks know.
Let them know.
This channel's been remonetized. I don't know. My half-Asian Larry Bill Richmond, what do you think the over-under is on this lasting?
Wait, we're still?
Yes.
In 24 hours?
Well,
I lose.
Yeah. And apparently, for some reason, The Verge and Vox got the scoop before we did. How does that
Somebody
work?
spilled the beans.
Anyway, we also have on the show today Bryan Callen.
right.
Who's obviously been in the news because he's the most recent victim of the Me Too. And you know what? We're going to get some straight answers from him. I don't think we're going to do any of this wishy-washy stuff. Quarter Black Garrett is here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing real good.
Audio Wade is here. It's not reflected in your paycheck, the remonetization. It's very paltry. I guarantee you this show won't be. So don't expect to be rolling in the Benjamins. And Reg the Bandit, how are you, sir?
Doing quite well. Great morning to be here.
Yeah, it is a great morning to be here. We're going to be talking about COVID and the junk science out there. Just because I know so many people have been removed from YouTube and from Facebook. Right. And so on our first Remonetized stream, I thought, let's go through the things that have gotten people removed from Facebook. Namely, science. But I think that's kind of important that we should be talking about the science. And I have a question for you guys. Now that not only the deaths have been consistently going down, but now that the actual rates of COVID have been going down, which is remarkable given the increased testing.
Good news.
Do you think this is still going to be the pivotal issue in the election? Do you think that the left is losing some leverage? Also, let me know what you think about us being remonetized and if you think this is a trend of things to come for everybody else. So, I don't. Spoiler alert. And by the way, I've never seen anyone more in love with themselves than Reg, the bandit. Look, he's looking at the monitor. Even there, that's like Oprah. You ever watch Oprah when she interviews someone? She's like, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I'm actually looking at you because
I'm right here.
The mask is sort of it's easy.
Damn it, Reg, you're living life through a screen. Life's happening around you, man.
Come on, Trash Panda.
Okay. Also, subscribe to Crowder Bits. That channel has been monetized for a while now, so you can write an article about that, Mashable.
Lots of fun stuff over there.
Eat my butt! Which, by the way, I woke up this morning after reviewing that intro.
Sure.
I woke up this morning laughing.
Oh, yeah?
My wife goes, why? And I said, it's still funny. Eat my butt. Because he was profane, swearing, and then all that. Eat my butt!
Yeah, that's his sign-off.
Yeah.
He ends every interaction
He's a good guy. I miss that guy.
More of an open invitation.
He had a line in the sand, and he wasn't willing to cross it. You know, you got to appreciate that.
Principles.
I don't know exactly. I don't think. Listen, I think we're reading too much into it. It was a crazy person on drugs who likes to get his butt munched. That's all. I don't think we need to read into it more than some Occam's razor.
There you go.
Follow it to butt. That's what it is. It's that simple. There's no Illuminati butt-munching society. It's just Bruce Christ down at the White House. Subscribe to Crowder Bits. It is monetized. And do subscribe on Android, on Apple Podcasts. And, of course, given that remonetization is a very, very small fraction of our revenue, if it will be, do consider joining Mug Club at loudoutcutter.com/MugClub. That's what allows me to have my wonderful half-Charlie lawyer here on retainer to fight these causes. So let's go to this really quickly, and then we'll hit the DNC teaser because we have that live stream coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, we do.
So first, we are remonetized. And this has been going on, and my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Risman, can tell me when I overstep my bounds. We've been talking with YouTube for a very long time about this.
Yes.
Okay. About 14 months, a year and a half?
Yes.
Okay. And to be clear, the only times we acquiesced or made change you guys knew about, for example, removing our shirt that we had to off-platform, even though it wasn't on YouTube.
That's true.
And there were some initial videos that we told you were made private behind the Mug Club, the paywall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there were a lot more conversations that had taken place.
Yep.
And there were a lot.
Conversations.
There were many more requests. Okay. So there have been a lot of conversations and requests. If you're worried about this show changing, well, we're going to be talking about COVID, junk science, and Alex Jones. But what was remarkable to me is we knew that we were going to be remonetized. We planned on announcing this today. You can follow us on social media and use the hashtag #CrowderRemonetized. We said a major announcement on Thursday. It's a major award. Well, there could be anything in a major announcement. And then we just see last night that The Verge, owned by Vox, got a scoop on it.
They got the scoop.
They got the scoop on it before they got the jump on us on our own channel. You haven't given them login info, have you?
No.
Now, were you surprised?
I was surprised.
Because, again, this was all discussed as to we shouldn't talk about it before it actually happens.
Right.
I mean, there's the question of YouTube on the record on it, but also no request for a comment. But I think that says more about the lack of journalistic integrity.
That's true.
Than anything. So
yes, you'd think you'd want a comment from the channel that you're discussing.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Instead of simply using comments from former hires, speech impedimented, brave Latinxes. So now they're going after
And beautiful.
Yes, Bill. We are going. They're going after. They're saying now that they're requesting YouTube examine our videos when transgenders attack. Right, that was when transgenders attack was the video, which they say is hate speech, as well as Mashable said that we made false allegations against Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, they were encouraging people to go watch the latest Change My Mind,
Mm-hmm.
which we also encourage.
Yeah.
And I think
we didn't pay for that plug, by the way.
Will be interested. Yeah, I mean, they were
Organic.
very generous of them to do that. But I know what's going to happen. Everyone's going to go watch it, and they're going to be looking minute after minute. This is the moment where I get to say, haha, Stephen is a racist. And then at the end, they're just going to subscribe. Yeah.
Well, hopefully then maybe we might need it. Now, when they say that we made false allegations against Black Lives Matter, which we would request Mashable or the YouTube spokesperson, I'm not quite
Right.
sure
What
the way
is
they
the-
wrote it,
the
if it's
vein,
YouTube who said this or Mashable,
Person.
but I would request you find any in that video. What is libel or slander? Which one's the written one?
Oral is slander, written is libel.
Okay, all right. Is there some crossover, or is that pretty cut and dry?
No, that's pretty cut and dry. I mean, you might have that audio-video thing, but... yeah.
Right, which brings me to the next point, when transgenders attack, battery and assault, because I don't know how we could have titled it any differently if this is hate speech. It wasn't just when transgenders attack in general, because there's a higher crime rate and sexual assault rate, which we've talked about in other videos. It was about me personally being attacked.
Actually getting attacked.
On camera twice. Now, I guess maybe because the second one threw the lunchbox that Z stole from a hobo.
Yeah.
Whipped it at me and missed, that would just be assault.
In the state of Texas, assault
Right.
would be if you were threatened.
But the other one who came up and directly grabbed the sign and pushed me, that would be battery.
Contact is where you get to battery under Texas.
Okay, I stand corrected. The video should read, when transgenders battery me.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
Not as snappy.
That's not as snappy. So I don't know why you're mad. I don't know how that's the hate speech, but you know what? We'll keep them coming. All I need to do is go to a rally. Yeah. Go to an LGBTQ rally, say, hi, I'm Stephen Craig, and before I finish my phrase, left hook. Now, it won't be a strong one.
I think what people are going to see is they're going to read the articles, and they're going to go look at the videos, and they're going to go, wait, this is the problem we have. This
is the big scary guy.
Okay,
This
so
guy?
we're mad that this attack was covered and accurately described, and then in the other one, okay, regardless of anyone's views on BLM, you're going to see a conversation that is the kind of conversation that's happening all over America, but it's never getting any attention.
Sure,
and that's a conversation you had about BLM.
Yeah.
So,
and I defined you to find one false allegation that we made against BLM. We took them, the links, the sources, which you can find yourself. We provide them for you directly from the words of the founders, if not their own official charter. And of course, the crimes are actually reflected in multiple sources.
Yeah.
See, the
know
FBI,
that.
though corrupt, can still serve a purpose. It's also important to note that the journalist over there at Vox/Verge, and the one and the same, tomato, bad journalism, is Julia Alexander. And this is the same person who wrote the hit piece at PewDiePie, right? PewDiePie was anti-Semitic,
right,
who did that digging, and was the catalyst for the first Vox adpocalypse. So
journalist.
careful what you wish for, LGBTQ, AIP, YouTube community. This is the same lady, correct?
Yeah, this is what... I guess this goes for journalism now. You know, PewDiePie did some review of a whole bunch of small creators. He's trying to do something nice, right? Biggest channel on YouTube, giving some shout outs to some small guys. So, of course, they went through every single video and dug through all the social media of anyone he featured to find something, right? And deep down in some deep dive, they here's something slightly anti-Semitic. Okay, headline. PewDiePie is a Nazi, right? So I mean, this is who we're dealing with. So
when I think Nazis, I do think Swedes.
It's to be expected. Yeah,
it's like
in the area.
If you were to choose a Democratic presidential and vice presidential candidate who, between them, supported segregation, lambasted women, assaulted them, and descended from slave owners.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's just- if you just take those historical facts and then.
Though, here's the thing, because we do have people, we have a lot more centrists on the show than we realize. If people want to vote for a rapey Jim Crow, that's their prerogative.
of course.
The country allows that.
Yeah, the country allows it. Rapey Jim Crow. And listen, we do have to give credit that Kamala Harris is the first POS candidate, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, POC.
Yeah. So let's move on here to the COVID, which I want to talk with you about. Now we have Manny actually coming on with some theories, and Bryan Callen, Alex Jones on Monday. That'll be a lot of fun. Let me one thing clarify. I couldn't care less if we are demonetized. So I know that the left was furious with the Vox adpocalypse, right? You wanted us to be banned. That didn't happen. You wanted to claim that we violated policies. That didn't happen. You wanted us to apologize, and that did happen for 26 minutes, I believe, if you watched that old video.
You gotta go back.
And then your only win was, well, at least we made sure that Louder with Crowder that they will cease to make a living on YouTube. And then we made our living off of Mug Club, but you could still sort of cling to, well, at least they're still not actually making money on YouTube. So that was the one win on the scoreboard for you guys. It was, you were 1-6. Now you have to wipe off the one and put your mouth on the table. Also, while your friend just smacks you for misbehaving.
Gotta hurt.
That's about what you got. All of the victories are gone. I understand. And I understand we could be demonetized tomorrow. We don't care. Our conversations with YouTube has always been, we just want to have a fair shake on the platform.
Yeah, right.
I know I'm not entitled to be monetized. I'm grateful that we are. That's great. All of you will, get to observe me with my bonus, which is nice. Which means we'll have a couple extra 6-packs in the fridge.
Oh, great.
We immediately, by the way, got emails. Your videos are not suitable for advertisers. I immediately just this morning was like, these videos are not suitable, not suitable, not suitable. Well, please tell me what is suitable, Susan? Not much. We would say your hour-long discussion with Dennis Prager on the nature of humanity, but you did say that you smoke cigars, so that's gone too. All right, well, that's fair. That's fair. PewDiePie's the Nazi. So
we do have that teaser.
Oh, that's right, Thursday.
Teaser.
So here's one thing. We say we were going to be doing every single day next week, the DNC convention.
Right, yeah.
But then we realized that it's like Tammy Ducksworth. We're like, you know what? Who really cares? Was it Ducksworth and Baldwin? There's several.
Baldwin,
There's several Tammys.
It's another Baldwin brother.
There are no good Tammys outside of Bruce. You guys don't even know. She's wonderful. She's a lesbian conservative, and she's wonderful. I haven't spoken with her. I need to give Tammy a call. Someone here, if I have an assistant, write that down. Call Tammy Bruce.
If you have
we're only doing Thursday, and the reason for that is because the presidential candidate and the first POS vice presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, will be speaking that night, as well as the whole Biden family, which is interesting because I think, isn't Hunter Biden speaking on Monday?
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Ukraine and
yes. It's like one of those YouTube videos, how I make $600 a day. And the next thing is a Tesla review. You're like, that's how he makes the money. It's a review of like this wonderful energy company.
If it was $600 a day, no one would care. The problem is it's like $600 a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, tomato financial corruption that's never investigated. So we will be doing a live stream on Thursday. It's going to be 80s night, drinking game, and here's a teaser.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Can I get it on the...
I was a Democratic caucus. Ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation, you also worked with them to oppose busing.
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true.
If I were serving in the United States Senate 40 years ago, when Joe Biden was serving there, we would have been on opposite sides.
I was joking. That was a joke.
Okay. All right.
And because I know we're under a microscope right now, I do have to clarify, fact check that. He wasn't opposed to busing, Joe Biden. He was opposed to buses.
In general.
Why do you need a car that, no one needs that much space? It's municipal. What?
You're saying
Who happened?
You're saying he also wasn't a Democratic caucus?
Yeah, he did that as well. Yeah. It's very confusing because there's no way to fact check someone who is functionally retarded. There's no way to fact check somebody.
They're trying to follow the sentences.
It just, you try and fact. It's like then it ends up being like Tyler Durden. Just, you don't know where I've been. We don't, Joe. You claimed Amy's Diner. It doesn't exist. None of us can know where you've been. You lying crazy. I don't even think he's a liar. I don't think we can accuse him for lying on anything. It's a beautiful ploy. He could just lie all he wants. People go, hey, I think that's a lie. He goes, what? Who? When did you happen? They go, what are you saying? Well, with the koi pond. And people go, okay, you know what? Let's give him a pass. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy your potential.
I'm Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's an interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
But most Democrats don't even think he'll make it through the first term, which means that they think the first POS candidate who sided with Jussie Smollett immediately demanding justice is the one with the better judgment. That could be your president.
That's pretty rough.
Think about that. The person who didn't have the wisdom to simply discern, hey, maybe I should wait on the Jussie Smollett. She went in to paint hard for Jussie. He's the best person I know. This is a modern day lynching. First off, for it to be a modern day lynching, doesn't there have to be a lynching? Doesn't that have to be one of the prerequisites?
And I think that tweet is still up.
It is. It is still up. Go to it.
It's still up. I love it. I stand by it. You and Stelter. Birds of a feather. Okay, so let's go to COVID here since we can act like this is going. Have I done anything wrong here, Bill? You look cross.
Oh no,
Oh,
I'm
no.
counting the litigation down.
All right. Well, then just count when you come in. He's like the count in Sesame Street, only he doesn't have the accent. That guy was an obsessive compulsive count. You don't need to count everything.
That's true.
If you're having a bowl of cereal, you're like, 1 Cheerio, okay, you can stop. I have to finish 2 Cheerios. And you're like 14, he has to flip the light switch on and off 18 times or his family will die. It's like, count. He needs help. And Cookie Monster with his eating disorder? I don't know how you guys missed this. Who gives a rat's ass that Bert and Ernie experimented in college? These people need help.
Yeah, and you people are entertained by
YouTube
this.
policy prevents you from going after Count Chocula or whoever you're talking about.
That's racist.
Yeah,
Count
how
Chocula
dare you?
has a
There's different
mental disorder.
vampires.
Count Chocula was a Black Panther who batoned people at the polls. I'm talking about the Count from Sesame Street.
Oh, gotcha. You're still not allowed to do that.
Okay, well now I
No,
understand.
you're thinking of Blackula.
Yeah.
Am I thinking of Blackula? Now, was that the Dracula Redux with the DMX?
I didn't know about that.
There was a
No. That's Cradle to the Grave.
No. There was a new Dracula, Dracula 2000, and there was there was some rapper in it. I don't know who it was. Could have been Exhibit.
Yeah. So before he bit his neck, he was like, "Arr."
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Barked at him.
I'm gonna pimp your classic novel.
I think it was an auto-tune T-Pain.
Here with DJ Wolfenstein Master Flex.
Show me that, Nick.
Yeah. Do we know what it is? They're giving. What was it? Dracula 2000.
Still researching.
All right, he'll research it. But speaking of research, let's move on to this. The COVID. Right now, if you tune into the media, you think that the COVID is getting worse and worse, and that everything our president says about it is a lie. This has been the narrative. This is not true. But let's hear it first from the mouth of the first POS vice presidential candidate. Yep.
It didn't have to be this way. 6 years ago, in fact, we had a different health crisis. It was called Ebola. And we all remember that pandemic. But you know what happened then? Barack Obama and Joe Biden did their job. Only 2 people in the United States died. 2. That is what's called leadership. But compare that to the moment we find ourselves in now. When other countries are following the science, Trump pushed miracle cures he saw on Fox News. While other countries were flattening the curve, he said the virus would just, poof, go away. Quote, like a miracle. So when other countries opened back up for business, what did we do? We had to shut down again.
Well, that timeline is very incorrect, but poof, we didn't have a miracle. You were put on the ticket. I don't think Joe Biden wants to win this right now. I think he's like one of those fighters who's in the corner. They're going, get back in there. And he's trying to give them every reason to not send him back in. Like, oh, I think my arm is tired. Like, no, your arm's fine. I think my leg doesn't work. They're like, no, I think if I was like, what do you have to do to throw in the towel?
He's increasingly more confused as he says things.
Yeah, he's increasingly confused.
People think it's an indication of a cognitive decline, but I think an equally sane explanation is he is trying to get out of it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
He's just gonna. How could he keep happening? And then,
he doesn't have anything left to prove. He should live out his life on his back porch with his wife and double-barreled shotgun.
So this is unrelated, but we do know what the movie was.
Oh,
it was Dracula 3000.
And was it Busta Rhymes?
Who was it?
So Dracula 2000 actually had vitamin C.
Oh,
Dracula
remember.
Dracula 3000 had Coolio.
Oh,
wow!
Dracula's Paradise.
So it was a Dracula movie about grandparents.
I have no idea. Here's what's sad is I know I saw it. I saw it, and someone's going to accuse me for being a racist because I confuse Exhibit and Coolio. Listen, tomato washed up wrapper, okay? The point is, it's pretty much all comparable. As far as junk science with Kamala Harris, to get back to the point, what are they oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me see what's going on at CNN before I move on to the junk science.
I do wash
Hey, that kid threw a ball.
They're talking about
teacher teaching.
Traveling to homes to help kids learn.
But see, look, this is what we talked about before. Teachers want to teach.
Some teachers
teach. They are willing to go school to school, but you're not hearing that message. All you're hearing about is the couple hundred that decided they would like to get paid but not go to school.
Yeah, and they drag out their casket like it's an old Undertaker coffin match. Yeah, so that's what they're doing in New York. They're walking through with caskets. What is the obsession with death? with the left all the time. If we go back, we're going to die. Well, listen, there's a 99.97% chance you don't. It's not perfect, but I like those odds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that those
gotta roll
odds
the
should
dice,
be.
man.
I don't think the mascot for 99.97% life rate should be a casket.
Sure, right. Yeah.
You know?
COVID's
I really
so you're
like-
saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
And I love that one of those recent protests, they gathered at a school. So all the teachers get together and gather at a school to protest. We can't gather at a
Going
school,
to the
right?
school.
Right? It's just like, just do what you're doing right now.
We can't let children
Only
gather
only
at schools.
teach.
But what you don't understand is the natural COVID repellent is acting like an asshole. That makes the cell membranes they can't be permeated by the COVID. Impermeable? Impermeable? Impenetrable?
the masks work.
I don't know.
My adjectives are impetuous.
The thing is impermeable.
My vocabulary is impenetrable.
Hey,
So
making a comeback.
let's go back to the junk science here. Ebola is what she compared it to. Well, listen, Ebola is not at all. It's not comparable. I almost said comparable. You got me on this audio, Wade.
I am the worst.
You guys can call me on my grammatical inaccuracies. We'll read your chat a little later on. And none of this is behind the paywall, unlike every other day of the week, because we give it to you free. Because Mug Club and because we're remonetized, we want to celebrate with you. So for Ebola, what can people here guess what the main difference would be between Ebola and the COVID SARS? It can only be exchanged through bodily fluid. So it's like saying, hey, how did you get the whooping cough? It's comparable to AIDS.
Yeah.
No, it's not at all. It's like, listen, no, there's a very specific way to avoid this disease. It could be comparable, like just stop sticking your penis in a light socket. If you don't stick your penis in a light socket, you will not get light socket penis disorder.
That is
the
a
same
disease,
thing.
right.
It is.
That keeps happening to me, and I don't know why.
I know. That's your wife told me about the 4-hour erections,
later.
which you should consult your doctor.
does it
Unfortunately, he's a man.
Ebola also, you have to be showing symptoms. So
Right.
it's also, you have to be showing symptoms and then exchange bodily fluids. So if you get Ebola, you really had to sort of be asking for it.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to mention,
Someone makes an appointment for that, folks.
under President Trump, 0 Ebola deaths.
Zero
Thank you.
Ebola.
That's true. That is
true.
leadership.
He made America great
That
again.
is true.
That is called
I
leadership.
can't take the winning.
You look at the arguments and you compare them like interview to interview, or even within the same interview or statement. They'll go from saying this is the worst disease, it can spread anywhere and everywhere, we don't know anything about it, we have no idea what's going on, but you know who should have known? The guy who we said has been an idiot for that. That guy. He's the one that we think can't walk down a ramp.
Right.
So I just don't understand why he couldn't solve the problem. But wait, we don't have a solution either.
No.
But elect us.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, I don't know why the guy in the leather helmet who keeps going like this didn't know how to separate conjoined twins. We are stunned to find out you are not the best amongst us. They believe that Donald's a great point, that he's an idiot, but he's some kind of a mastermind. Or if he's oblivious, it doesn't make it. None of this actually computes, and none of it really can line up with the science. This is the issue, right? They do it with the Green New Deal. Say, well, you're a science denier if you don't support the Green New Deal. I've done this on the channel. You can go search Green New Deal. We read the entire Green New Deal because it's less than a pop-up book. Okay? TikTok went the clock is more enthralling than the Green New Deal. Green eggs and ham is more flowery than the Green New Deal and makes more sense.
So at least it proposes some real solutions.
Right.
Green eggs and ham.
By the way, it's just penicillin. I don't know why that's so vexing.
The Green New Deal is much like if you give a mouse a cookie. Here, if you give AOC a cookie, she's going to take your whole government.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's what she wants to do. By the time you get to page 4, the thing is, nobody gets to page 4 because pages 1 through 3 suck so bad.
Everybody's asleep.
Right, and if you give a mouse to Joe Biden, he sniffs it. And then opposes busing.
I mean,
the real problem here is
one thing with
busing.
children, and now he's sniffing the mice.
He anything small,
gonna get a
anything
disease.
over which he can assert power. Right? It's a power crime.
Yeah.
No, he just likes smells. Okay, here's something else that we need to go through. The United States, actually, comparing to what Kamala Harris just said, sorry, we're a little far removed from the clip at this point. The U.S. has how many per capita? Let me bring this up. We have lower deaths per capita than the UK and a lot of other European countries. Okay, now here's one thing I want to be very clear about, and I've talked about this repeatedly. Yes, if you look at the top states that have the highest death rates, where COVID has truly been a pandemic that they haven't gotten under control, they are almost all I mean, if you were to look at it and you were trying to look for some kind of a correlation, some kind of a causation, they're all run by Democrats, right? And all of them had severe lockdowns. That being said, there are some exceptions, and there are some exceptions at the bottom of the list where some states that had lockdowns did okay, but most states that didn't do lockdowns tended to do better, and in the middle, it's kind of a mix and match. So I want to be clear, I'm not saying that having no lockdown stops the spread of COVID. Okay, but there is something that is absolutely undeniable, and that is nursing home deaths. It's not even close. We're looking for these graphs elsewhere, and the problem is the media never actually covers these graphs. The death rate graph has continually been doing this, and now I am astounded to know that the case graph is going down. How does that happen when you increase testing? I went through CVS pharmacy to pick up a prescription for my wife. I said, "Hey, you want to toss a COVID test in there?" I said, no. I said, "Are you sure? We'll get you the results free." What is this, like a supersize me COVID test? Yeah, give me the test. By the way, positive.
Oh, hey.
It's just like a mosquito atomizer.
Actually, bring it in. I'd like to get this over with.
I want to get it over with. We'll just all do the popsicle stick test in Blood Brothers. So if you look at the Democrat governors, you have Cuomo, you have Whitmer from Michigan, right? They were forcing nursing homes to take COVID patients. Now, this is tough because we don't have an updated number on how many deaths overall are nursing home deaths. But last time we were able to access these numbers, according to the New York Times, 41% of all COVID deaths are nursing home deaths. Now, I've read as high as 47%. This is from the New York Times, and you know they really don't want it to be 41%.
Now, I wonder why we don't have updated numbers.
We do not have those numbers, and you know that it's probably a lot higher because it's cloaked in mystery right now in New York. Governor Cuomo is saying that they shouldn't have any kind of an investigation. He doesn't want there to be an investigation. He's rejected the request for a count on the
and this is after he just fired his chief of health.
Right.
Yeah. He went out there, continuously has attacked her over the last 4 or 5 months when she's been critical of his policies, and then went ahead and got the other guy back that said, "Oh, we should not do any kind of lockdown at all, period, whatsoever." Right. And, you know, it's crazy because now he's completely on the defensive because of this, of the facts of the senior care system.
And what's more totalitarian? Think about this. You know that Donald Trump and Anthony Fauci don't get along. They don't agree on almost anything. But people always complain that Donald Trump is nothing but sycophants and he fires everybody. He still has Fauci out there throwing pitches, if you want to call it that. Think of it for a second. You are fired immediately if you disagree with Cuomo. And with Donald Trump, the worst you get is some ball busting at a press conference. Fauci, Geppetto, I don't like him, but I'm joking. You're a good guy. Say hi to your mom. I'll see you tonight. That's about all you get. He doesn't like Fauci, but he didn't fire the guy. Yeah. He'd be well within his right to do something. And really all he does is go out and say, no, I disagree. And here we go, the data's changing, and we need to reopen the country. So it is remarkable to me when we talk about authoritarianism from Donald Trump, and you look at places like New York, you look at places like Governor Whitmer, Michigan, my home state. This is the one that really upsets me, is Governor Whitmer. She blocked a bill just recently, and I always try and see the other. Maybe someone here can play devil's advocate. So we played this video on the show. Remember that young man punching the old man in the face at the old folks at the nursing home in Michigan?
Yeah.
And people go, why is that young Crip member
That's strange.
punching Grandpap?
Is he an orderly?
Why is he punching Grandpapa?
They're coming up with very
Then you realize it's because he had COVID. So it's like, okay. So you're a serial violent felon, and you're under the age of 30, but you have COVID right this way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just beyond comprehension when you think about it. It took me, I read through several times to make sure I had the story straight, that this is not anybody who would normally be in a nursing home.
Right.
You're saying, we've got someone who's infected with a disease that kills old people. Where should we house them? How about a nursing home?
Right.
Like,
With
this
Gladys.
is just, And so if you think about, Kamala Harris saying,
Hey,
Trump's
Ethel,
to
you
blame.
still have that kissing booth? All right, come on, get on up there, Kwame.
Get on over
I mean,
here.
we really have no idea how high the toll is, because in New York, it's only counted as a nursing home death if they physically die in the nursing home.
Right.
If you get hospitalized beforehand, as I assume probably most would,
right,
then it's not counted as a nursing home death. So it may be far higher. Whitmer hasn't been transparent with it, and she's literally just funneling. Maybe she's trying to kill off the old folks.
That's the conspiracy I've heard. Like, listen, that would make a huge difference in votes in Michigan because the seniors, it's a state that went Donald Trump, and especially with 36% African American approval, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Joe Biden with Kamala Harris, who's even less popular, I believe, with black people than Joe Biden, if you can believe it. Kamala Harris turns out being a braggart about owning slaves, not good bedfellows with gaining a little more of the African American vote. So 36%.
Gretchen Whitmer, she's such a good person. She would never do anything like that.
She would never do anything
No.
like that.
I mean,
and I'm not saying that that's the case, but it defies reason. And now she voted to block a bill. She actually not voted. She vetoed a bill that would prevent COVID patients from going into nursing home deaths, knowing what we know now. So I can't think of a more clear example of denying science. I've relinquished this territory. I've said, hey, you know what? Maybe lockdowns helped. Maybe they didn't. We can look at Sweden, who seems to be doing better than a lot of their neighbors, worse than some other neighbors. We look at the top states. They all had lockdowns. We look at the bottom states. Most of them didn't have lockdowns. But you know what? We don't know. It's a mixed bag. The one thing that is absolutely undeniable is that the average COVID patient death age is right up there at life expectancy in certain states, like New York, beyond life expectancy. We know that it is severely more dangerous. The mortality rate is far higher with old people, and we know that these policies that have put sick COVID patients in nursing homes have resulted in innumerable, it's impetuous. I am impenetrable. Innumerable deaths, at least up until this point. So then, when constituents, representatives say, hey, we need to change this in Michigan, given the science, right? We're supposed to adapt with science. And I don't even really think you need to be a climatologist to understand that sending in 22-year-old criminals into nursing homes with COVID has been bad for old people. They say, no, this is good. We're going to continue doing it. And Gretchen Whitmer vetoed that bill. So still, in Michigan today, sick COVID patients right into nursing homes. Yeah. How do you claim that that's pro-science? You were about to say
well, what I find to be most interesting about all of this is where's the criticism for Whitmer? Like, where's the left saying, hey, when she was kind of on that short list for VP, you didn't hear the left going, well,
she wasn't a POS.
She is not a POC. That is correct. And so the issues about this make it clear that if this wasn't an election year, how the left is handling this particular problem would have been completely different. Because at every moment, at every turn, if they can do anything and spin anything to look bad about Trump, it makes clear, and they use it as a message to say he's not even qualified to run again in November. And yet all of the people who were considered, the candidates, all of those people who are in power, including Whitmer and others in Congress, doing bad things as well, not making a difference in their particular states, and yet they're still fine. It just doesn't make any sense.
Blame President Trump for the pandemic and ignore Cuomo putting his pillow over Pop's face as he jumps out the window. Shh, you're going to make me look bad. So, a little dark, but I don't apologize. This one's monetized. Hit the notification bell, by the way, if you're subscribed, because subscriptions on YouTube don't mean a whole lot. And notifications will let you know when we are live, which is every morning, Monday through Thursday. Now, Good Morning Mug Club. Next Thursday, we, of course, have the special DNC live stream in the evening. Here's another point that we need to get to. The left, of course, has been claiming that the pandemic, it's a pandemic,
Pandemic. It is. That's what I've heard.
Is that it's been getting worse and worse. You probably believe that, too.
Repeating lies is a very effective way to sell.
Look, another asshat haircut. They had a meeting at CNN. Don't cut your hair.
Every time he says something that's untrue. But right now, especially, he must. The only thing worse than this president's inaction is his active deception about the reality. And this statement from the President of the United States is a lie.
A pandemic which is disappearing. It's going to disappear. The reason cases are up because we're doing one of the reasons. We're doing a lot of testing.
The only thing that has disappeared is his credibility on this issue.
And the naked pictures from your wife's yoga video. I don't know how much CNN paid to make that go away.
Yeah, how do you get her off the internet?
I don't know.
It's insane.
For crying out loud. He was just out there. And the thing is also, how does his wife not check review before uploading to Instagram?
I guess it's just so normal for her to have.
Is that my husband's flabby non-squatting ass in the background? I'm pretty sure that's my husband's flabby non-squatting ass. He wouldn't want people to see this. All he does is curls. He doesn't want people to see his flabby non-squatting ass.
Do some squats.
I think I think there's some cracks in that relationship.
Probably.
There's at least one.
Oh, it was an accident.
It was an accident. By the way, sign these papers. Don't read them. Don't read them. Don't read them. 50%. So, a recent survey, by the way, found that this has been effective from the left. If they talk about Donald Trump lying, well, if you tune into CNN, it's fear porn. What are they doing right now? Top Republicans
let's check it out.
embrace Kanon-aligned House GOP candidate. I can never say Kanon.
I will not apologize for
that
standing
Soros?
up against George Soros, even when they want to call me an anti-Semite.
George Soros is a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Yes, of course.
Sure.
And Warren Buffett was actually just the name of the actor who played Munchkin number 5 in Wizard of Oz. These aren't
Well-known
people.
fact.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
By Politico in June, House
I love how they play the video of her talking, but they don't let her talk.
No, they don't let her talk. Listen to what she has to say. Well, I think, and there's more if you go to her website, which is unlisted on ours. So
Full of conspiracy.
full of conspiracies. They believe that George Soros has a lot of money.
Tinfoil hat much?
No, unproven.
Soros is like, no, I don't have any money. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have as much as he would like.
I've given it to
you know
Antifa.
what? Ain't that life, Soros? Give me a call. We can talk about it. So, recent survey found that Americans believe, that 9% of the population have died from the coronavirus. So again, if we're talking about fear and who's lying and whose lies are more effectively reaching the American public, that would be over 30 million deaths to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And even using their total tally, which is clearly inflated because of nursing home deaths and the deaths that are just
Right.
deaths with COVID as opposed to death by COVID, it's still under, I don't know exactly what that is, 160-something thousand right now?
Under 160, yeah.
Is it under 160? I think it's under 170. Depends
Oh, we
on
need to
who
look
you
at it.
ask, whether it's Stelter or Cuomo on a bad hair day. It's
Yeah.
somewhere between 155 and a million. But it's certainly not 30 million.
Right.
Americans out there believe that 30 million Americans have died from COVID. That's because they're tuning into, by the way, people's webcams who can't even be bothered to rub a microfiber cloth over it. With a ticker.
Do we remember back in April when they were saying the death rate was going to be, 170,000%, and they were like, look at how many people have died, and this is how many cases we have, and they were just taking the known cases and comparing them to the known deaths, and not acknowledging that, wait a minute, maybe more people are infected than we know about, and the cases are different, and the death rate is lower. And they said, what are you, crazy?
Yeah.
And now, that's exactly...
No, they banned doctors for saying that. They literally banned doctors for saying we have a higher infection rate than we realize, which means a lower mortality rate.
So now you hear Trump going, well, the numbers are going up because we're doing more testing. And that's just the corollary of that exact same point, which is, yes, of course you're going to have more confirmed cases when you're doing more testing. What's not changing is there's no argument that he was saying that the testing is causing the cases.
No. Right. And here's what's remarkable to me is now, even with more testing, cases are going down. I thought cases were going to be going up until somewhere around, give or take, November 4th. That's what I thought was going to happen. But now cases are going down despite increased testing, and deaths have consistently been going down. We need to be clear about that. The number that really matters, of course, is deaths, particularly deaths per capita here in the United States. That has been going down consistently. Now cases, I am surprised at this. That's why you never heard me make the claim that cases would go down. It's so much winning, even my fingers hurt.
Yeah, I think this is what is really remarkable about that poll is it's one of the instances where you can see in a quantifiable way the results of, fake news and people just getting people into a state of fear. Like you can see, okay, this is, what is that, 225 times the rate?
Yeah.
Right? So people have been deceived that much, right?
You say tomato, I say schools have been shut down and they can't be expected to do math. Because our bravest,
that could also be it.
Our frontline heroes, teachers, would rather carry caskets down Lexington Avenue. So priorities, folks. I think I'm hearing that we have Callen. Is that what it is?
So we're working on it.
Okay, we're working on it. Good. So then, this is one thing I do want to leave you with. I won't be surprised if we're not remonetized. But that's not really the point. Is when you were accused of being anti-science, when you were accused of not listening to experts, you do have to ask yourself, what have the experts said? Yep. And what have the people who've been saying, ignore everything else, ignore your lying eyes and ears, and trust the experts, namely these governors, what have they been doing? Well, they've been sending sick patients into nursing homes and then vetoing bills that would prevent them from sending even more sick patients into nursing homes. I don't want to be one of those people who makes claims that are unsubstantiated. So anyone who goes out there and says definitively that lockdowns hurt. Well, we know definitively that lockdowns hurt the economy. Absolutely. And we know definitively that there is no rhyme or reason yet to whether a state having a total lockdown has dealt with the coronavirus more effectively. We even know definitively that Sweden, they decided to have a very laissez-faire approach, and their rates have been going down dramatically to the point that they might completely be over the virus. But the jury is still out on a lot of these. However, if we're going to talk about the science, and I do not know why more conservatives aren't focusing on this, I want everyone, when you discuss this situation, this pandemic, at your dinner table, whatever it is, maybe Thanksgiving. Well, it won't be around Thanksgiving. We'll be on to Ebola number 2, some novel form of the bird flu.
And if you have Thanksgiving, you want grandmother to die. Right?
Yes,
of course.
Yeah,
can't have dinner.
Don't do Thanksgiving. Just have a can of cranberry sauce alone with your Hungry Man. Swanson is not that bad. The Hungry Man, I don't mind them. I'm not going to do the Lean Cuisine Stofers.
We should get them on as a sponsor. Yeah.
Lean Cuisine, not now. Not after that.
The
Hard
Man.
feathering.
The Hungry Man.
You know what? No, but Lean Cuisine, they can find a sponsorship over there at Verge and Vox with some speech impedimented braves. I'm wondering, should we? Do you think we should have maybe should we bring Bryan Callen on first and then have Manny come on?
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay. So before we go to Bryan Callen, let's we have a quick break. What do we have? We have a quick break from our sponsors. Bryan Callen is going to be on right after this break. Real sponsors.
Yes.
And then after Bryan Callen, we actually have the truth according to Manuel, our residential Colombian conspiracy theorist. We'll be right back in 1 minute with Bryan Callen.
Hey guys, what's up?
We got an idea.
A bright idea.
Lay it on me.
Well, it's a commercial for Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Yeah.
We're going to show everybody how good the coffee is by beating your black ass. Yeah, coffee's so good, you're going to forget we just beat your ass.
I don't know.
Come on, soak up the brains of the idea we got going. Yeah, come on, man, you're going to be the hero. I'm going to hold your arms back while Keith punches you in the stomach. No, I'm going to punch him in the face. I told you
No,
that.
I don't think any of this is necessary. It's not going to fit the brand.
Work. Trust me.
Well, we can run it by Steven, but I don't think he's going to be into it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Trust me.
There he is right there. Let's go ask him.
Yeah, go ask him.
Black Rifle Coffee! Yeah.
BlackRifleCoffee.com/Crowder. See, I had to do like multiple takes because I kept saying BlackRifle.com/Crowder because around the office we just refer to it as Black Rifle. We're on a 2-name only basis. We're that familiar. BlackRifleCoffee.com/Crowder. You get 20% off your first order. This is my favorite. We refer to this as the Medic Blend here in the office, but it's actually I think called the Coffee Saves or Vintage Roast. We have an espresso machine at the office. That's what we put in there. It is as good as any coffee we've put through it, and we've put through at least probably 20, 30 varietals. So yeah, they're a veteran-owned company. A portion of their profits go to support veteran causes. That's all great. Their coffee, though, is better than the competition at a more reasonable price. We're going to do some coffee tutorials coming here in the future, but blackriflecoffee.com/Crowder. If you're going to drink coffee, support a company that has the balls to support this show, and they make better coffee. It's a win-win. Hey, Quarter Black.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So we were thinking.
Yeah.
I had a little idea.
And it's a good one. Hear us out. We think you need a little more street cred with the blacks.
Yeah, no offense. But so you're familiar with Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, of course.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I know.
So we were thinking 25 cent black.
You love it.
Because you're a quarter black?
No, I get it. I get it.
It's perfect, right? Yeah.
You can find me looking smug, duffel full of mugs. Mommy, I got a lid if you into catching bugs. Gotta charge my phone now, I'm looking for some plugs. Man, I swear I'm gonna slug on this Palo Alto thugs.
Nope. What's up, my Nick?
All right, I think we're a little bit off with the music because we don't even do commercial breaks that often here with the Good Morning Mug.
Yeah, with the lineup.
But our next guest, friend of the show, friend of mine, and I wanted to have him on. I think this is the first show that he's been appearing on. And again, another grammatical error, but I talked myself into a corner. Mr. Bryan Callen. Are you there, sir? Can you hear me?
I am here, my friend. I appreciate. I thought that was a baggy blazer. Turns out you're wearing a robe.
Yeah, it's a morning show.
Okay, well, because I'm wearing a collared shirt in the morning, I thought, I'd
Yeah, I know, but you thought wrong.
I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, I'm not the one in a hot seat, buddy. Where's the best place? Where's the best?
This is true.
Where's the best place for people?
This is true. I can no longer just wear a robe whenever I want.
It's true.
Not right.
It's just it's the optics. Where's the best place for people to find you and support you right now? Because I didn't want to plug the wrong social thing.
Well, right now, it would be BryanCallen.com. I am doing I had to reprise my podcast. It is now The Fighter in the Rinks, and it can be found on Patreon. So Fighter in the Rinks, I think, / Patreon. We had to go behind a paywall and restructure everything. We're in the process of doing that, releasing tomorrow.
Okay.
Because
hold on. Before we go, Bryan, I want to give you the opportunity here for people who you've been the latest victim of allegations of sexual assault. People can say the Me Too that's gone too far. Let me just ask you point blank. Accusation of rape. Did you do it?
No, I did not.
Okay, there we go.
Not true.
Hey, that sounds
All right. Well, listen, and we spoke off air for people who know this is how I handled friendships. I called Bryan. I said, "Listen, this doesn't read true to me. You tell me it's not true. I'll go out and I'll believe it. And then if I find out that Bryan lied to me, then I'll bury him in his collared shirt." So,
as well, you should.
Yes, as well, we'll just make sure it's not a robe.
And that's important though, because no matter what happens when you're in this situation, this is a crazy. 20 plus years ago, whatever. What happens is everyone says to you, the prevailing wisdom across the board is you gotta lay low. You just have to be quiet because anything you say will keep it in the news. And I think a human being, and I think a country for that matter, defines themselves on what they are willing to fight for and the lines they're willing to defend.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm not going to do that because I didn't do this and I'm not guilty of this. And so for me, I thought to myself, if I don't stand up, the number of people that I know that have gone through something similar who've reached out, or just people in general who said, please be the person to stand up and at least talk about this.
Right.
Because nobody wants to talk about the fact that we are losing due process. And I don't think anyone is necessarily to blame. But look, you have two factors. One is social media. If someone, and it doesn't matter who they are, it could be from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it could be whatever. And if somebody says something about you, and they said that you said something, that you did something, that's all that it takes for your livelihood to stop.
Right.
Because nobody wants to get involved in that. Everybody kind of pulls back immediately. And
well,
so
I would even
when
correct you and say it's not that there is no due process; it's there's no interest in due process. And I'll read this from the People article where this lady who came forward and accused you, people can read it, where she said she didn't submit to a rape kit because she thought it was invasive. She also didn't tell her dad because she was afraid her dad might hurt you. Which to me, this is just me, my opinion. I go, it sounds to me like you'd want the dad to kick a rapist's ass.
You think so?
Maybe bury him in a bathrobe.
But Stephen, the mistake is to get into how someone's mind works. I think this is a much bigger issue than just me. I mean, and that's very important. I think that the fact of the matter is we live in a time when if someone says something about you, you can be annihilated, and there's no redemption. Mm-hmm. And that is a fact, and that is happening. And I think it's a function of whatever's happened in social media. It is this sort of mob rule, this sort of thing that people jump on. But also, you have publications, you have credible publications that used to be really good newspapers and stuff that are desperate to get online subscribers, paying online subscribers.
Right.
And these newspapers are in real trouble. I mean, desperate trouble.
Yeah.
And so what happens is there's enormous pressure on journalists to create clickbait, to create sensation. So if you get more clicks, if you get more retweets, that is the only way to survive.
You know what's funny is you just said something
that
exactly Donald Trump would say, only it sounded more intelligent. You have newspapers that are in trouble, real trouble, bad trouble.
Yeah.
They need money, they don't have it, folks. It sounds better coming from you. It's the exact same thing.
I'm trying. Well, but this is the problem. Everybody, most people agree. And most people don't want to live in a world where you're guilty until proven innocent. You know why? Because anybody can be next.
Well, most people don't consider it until they're that guy. That's the problem.
That's right. And listen, the other thing is the Me Too movement is not a bad movement. This is a good movement.
Right.
As far as giving people recourse to abuse. And we've taken down some real monsters. But the problem is if this process becomes arbitrary, random, from anywhere, any angle, and then lock them up, throw away the key, and you can't earn a living. Because when you talk about cancel culture, actually what you're talking about, and people should know, is that you cannot earn a living.
Right.
You can't support your children.
Right.
You can't support the people that you love.
Right.
That's what's really going on. And it happens when you posted a picture 10 years ago and it's taken out of context. It happens when you've somebody said you said something. And it's very quiet because people don't really even tell you. They just pull back. Everything dries up.
Well, that also really bothers me is when you see some folks not coming out when they know something is false to support allies or to support friends because they're scared that someone might go after them.
They're terrified.
Listen, I know what you're talking about. We just got Remonetized today, and then Verge, Vox, Mashable, they all have these articles that they're going to YouTube saying that my video when transgenders attack is hate speech, where I was literally physically battered and assaulted by 2 transgender individuals. I guess they would have preferred when transgenders batter. Which just sounds like a Ben & Jerry's flavor at that point. My issue here is that there's an inaccuracy and there is a lack of accountability. Now, they've kind of acknowledged that, Bryan, and so I will say this. I've never seen allegations or a story like this go away so quickly as with yours, and I think that's because you came out strong and forceful. Also, just because there was no substantiation, right? And the problem now is the media realizes they don't have the power. There are people who can fact check them. So rather than try and go back and forth, they just throw spaghetti at a wall and then they move on. And so they've moved on from this because there was nothing really there. And this is one thing, and I know you have your stuff to say, but I do know that there's a history here, okay? And I've had my own history with this lovely lady. Amy Schumer, I know that you and her have kind of, what should I say, gotten under each other's skin, in her case, more of it.
I don't know her.
I know. Oh, come on, bro. People can run a search and see that you've said, like, she's an okay comedian. I don't think she's the best.
Is that what I said?
You said she was, like, good, but not quite to the level of, and you mentioned some, like Pryor, people like that, which I think is fair.
Oh, well, that's a fact. That's an objective fact.
She took that as an insult, and she's been pissed at you, and then she put this stuff out there going, bye, Bryan, on Instagram. I'm going, what's going on? So I don't think it's hard for people to see the timeline and see that there's also a personal grudge here from someone who, my opinion, not yours, is awful in every which way.
Well, look, the good news for me is that I've spent 7 years building a fan base with podcast and with and 20 years building a fan base with my work. And I have been so overwhelmed, not only by the number of fans. I think I had something like 12,000 comments under my Instagram. And all of them were incredibly supportive. I think people can see, and all of my friends and everybody I know over the past 25 years, the number of people that reached out, people know, they can feel whether or not you're a good person. You're not going to be, I don't think you do something terrible and then that's the only time you do anything terrible and you have no track record of it at all. Right. These aren't things that happen once.
Yeah.
You're either a good person and people know that, and your life is an example of that, or you're not.
Well, like Brett Kavanaugh was a gang rapist and then a guy who kept a diary. It's like, well, was Brett Kavanaugh a gang rapist or the rest of his life, journals?
Yeah, or spend his whole life trying to get people to like him because he's a comic and he gets up and, does a song and dance. That's not an admirable quality. I just love when people like me because I like people. So, yeah, it's a little bit inconsistent. But again, the larger issue, forget me. If I'm one of the bodies on the side of the road, so be it. Nobody wants to live in a world, and we don't know how to fix it. Nobody wants to live in a world, again, where there is no due process, where you can be executed by an ambitious journalist.
No, I wouldn't say nobody.
Who has to come up with a story.
I wouldn't say nobody. I would say most people, when they sit down and think about it, unfortunately, most people don't sit down and think about it until they are in that hot seat or a friend of theirs is in the hot seat. And there is a huge swath of people out there, folks like the Amy Schumers, who's tweeted this out with joy or Instagrammed it out, who do want to see people guilty until proven innocent. Not most people, but there are people in the entertainment establishment and the media establishment who do that. It's just not most Americans.
Well, it's money. You can get attention and you can get money for it. There is an incentive structure. Unfortunately, there is an incentive structure to do these things, and nobody knows how to fix it. And I think that's the biggest issue. As long as we have an incentive structure to where you can make money off an allegation, and I'm talking about for a publication, we have a problem.
Or a nice
and it's happening all the time.
Yeah,
so
like
at least I can get up here and say my piece and continue to, because it's the only option I have. And
come on, it's not the only option you have. They have most people out there are supporting you, and I hope that you do make the rounds. And obviously, I hope that we see you there with your buddy Joe. This is it's really an incredible time. Who would have thought that we missed for the days of justice with OJ? Because there was still that kind of like, did he not? Well, we have to wait for the verdict, and now it's just like guilty, and it's the opposite. It's why is it because a cop used the N-word? No, it's because the guy's white.
Well, hold on, Stephen. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Sorry, partially Italian. You have some Sicilian. There's a person of color hanging around your woodshed somewhere there.
Well, who knows? Yeah, Southern Italian, 51%.
We all saw True Romance.
I don't know.
All right, Bryan Callen, the best place for people to find you and support you, and I do appreciate you. It takes brass balls, and I would say this: don't listen to all the Hollywood PR people and agents telling you to be quiet. Do what you're doing, but where's the best place for people to find you and support you?
I'll be on Instagram. I'll be hitting the road as soon as I can, doing stand-up, and I'll let people know through my Instagram. Hopefully the TFATK website, but definitely The Fighter in the Rinks on Patreon. It's going to be a great podcast, and we've already recorded one of them, so we're moving in that direction.
I look forward to being your marquee guest. I look forward to being your first. I look forward to being your marquee guest. Bryan Callen, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Be well.
You're a good man, Stephen. Thank you for that robe.
Thank you. And we are actually going to go to a quick installment. People enjoyed it yesterday of the White Privilege Boys, and then be back with The Truth According to Manny. And now for the adventures of the White Privilege Boy. Now, okay, Timmy, Bobby, and Johnny, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. I need you to put your guns down. Well, can't I just keep my gun on me trained on you for just a little longer? Yeah, please. Now, boys, you know I'm not supposed to let you do that. Oh, come on. All right, just make sure it's unloaded. Nope. No. Okay, now, at least turn off that tack light. You're blinding my eyes. What am I gonna do with you, you little rapscallions? Ow! Oh, those boys. What pickle will they find themselves in next? Stay tuned for next week's installment of Adventures of the White Privilege Boys. Glad to be those boys. Yeah. I don't know if
I'm excited for next
week's.
week's.
I'm not at all.
Those scams.
You know, there's a part of me that would like to see a couple of dimes from the remonetization at some point. I'm not expecting to be filling my coffers, but, you know, some beer money. Yeah. That six-pack is now down to a Colt 45. Karen knows what I'm talking about, but it works every time.
Every time.
So next week, by the way, we will have Alex Jones on Monday. So just in case you thought, I wanted to make it really clear. We all said we don't want people to think that just because we're remonetized that we're changing. So we said, what would be the biggest statement? Someone who I don't even agree with most of the time. Just for you. Just for you, Verge, Alex Jones. I hope to see that in the next article, along with PewDiePie's allegiance to the Nazi party, I guess, the National Socialist Party. Could be a socialist. We don't know. Bernie Sanders, right? See? Tie it in together. Comedy. So let's go right now, actually. We have someone in this studio, actually. We have someone in this office who we love, Smooth Manny. He's been our Jocko correspondent. Wonderful man. But he does come from an actual socialist country, and
it's unfortunate.
Sometimes I'm pretty conservative, but he goes pretty far to the right, and some would say that it's conspiratorial, but I wanted to give him a place to voice his opinions that are not reflective of my own. So it's time for The Truth According to Manny. Oh, and by the way, before I should tell you, you can purchase your coffee at blackriflecoffee.com, and they have the coffee club if you do Crowder, the promo code. I forgot about the promo code. Yeah, if you do the promo code Crowder, blackriflecoffee.com/Crowder, promo code Crowder, you get 20% off your first order. I drink it every morning, but I don't know what's happened. We missed a shipment here. I think one got skipped, and I told you I had to drink the local cat piss coffee. This morning I tried Dunkin' Donuts because it was the only one open at 5.
Sure.
And to me, if you're not open at 5 a.m. and you're a coffee shop, you should be shut down.
What are you doing? That's a problem,
I think you really should be firebombed. And Dunkin' Donuts is just like water.
Yeah.
But at least they don't hate America, from what I know. Maybe they do. I don't know. Who knows anymore? So, Smooth Manny, you're here to tell us the truth that you think that sometimes I don't necessarily dive in deep enough.
Good morning, Stephen.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate you taking the time. Oh no. So we were walking by. I think it was Audio Way tonight.
Yeah.
And something came up. Someone was discussing. You were talking about. And forgive me, not trigger warning, but warning if you have kids watching. Apparently, this is a real theory that people in power have been engaging in copulation with swine, with pigs. Is something from former Prime Minister Cameron. You were saying this is true. I'm just ignoring the facts.
You're a very busy man. You have a show.
I only have so much time in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard for you to keep up with all the news of the entire world.
Yeah.
But it is a known fact. Well, I should say allegedly.
Okay.
An alleged fact.
Yeah.
That people in power do sexual things that might be immoral, illegal, perhaps.
Well, immoral, sure.
Sure, yeah.
But that's a wide swath. That's not what you were talking about.
Sure. Yeah. No, this one in particular involved a pig.
Okay.
But I will.
I immediately don't believe it.
So I'm going to tell you a story, and we're going to dive deep into the situation of the story.
Okay.
And why it's totally plausible.
Okay. Well, and I know, is this something that has to do with the Black Mirror? Because that was the first episode.
That's what yeah.
And I don't know how anyone stuck with that show after the first episode.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Sex with a Pig, this is the show. Okay, I'm seen enough.
That's the pilot?
Yeah, that's the pilot. That's them getting stranded on the island.
So tell me what's your show about. Well, here you go.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
an anthology.
So tell me about this.
So our story begins with Lord Ashcroft.
Okay.
So he is a conservative.
Mhm.
He worked with David Cameron.
Oh boy, he has overlays. Okay.
And he
yeah, he brought them in. I don't even know how they're going.
He wrote a book alleging
that
David Cameron did sexual things with a pig at a ritual at a party.
Okay.
At a private
Well, that
festival.
sounds like hearsay. It doesn't sound like there's any proof.
Sure. Then, so the news breaks, and the news is like, oh, so our prime minister, this is overlay number 2.
Okay, well, this is my show. Right,
He stuck his genitals inside a dead pig.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. This was proven?
So David Cameron, he didn't even deny it. He just he did the opposite of what Bryan Callen did. He just disappeared.
But some people have done that too with rape accusations. It's a strategy just to disappear. So that doesn't mean that he did it.
No, of course not. It's all alleged. Then a Black Mirror episode comes out, overlay number 3, and the first episode is about a prime minister who has to have sexual relations with a pig in order to save.
Yeah, and that's why I say I know this is a topic that, people have it was spoken about in the office.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me online why I was ignoring this pig situation and pointed me to Black Mirror. It's like a big thing.
Yeah.
And I said, let's have Manny come on because I don't have enough time. This is by request. It's not a topic I'm fond of. So Black Mirror, continue. And I still don't believe you.
You're far too busy to watch Black Mirror season 1, 2, and 3 and follow the news. You know.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we've set the scene. That's what happened. So
you've set nothing.
Overlay number 4 is David Cameron. So this is about his age when all this was alleged, and this was at a party called it's called the Pierce Gaveston Society. Now here's something funny about this society. If you bring that overlay back up, it's named after Pierce Gaveston, which was the alleged male lover of the king. And
saying alleged doesn't create evidence, right?
Okay, yeah.
I just want to make sure we're clear.
But I just want to point out that fact that so at this party named after this, if you bring up that overlay again, Pierce Gaveston.
Yeah. Well, we got the name.
I don't know about you, but a secret society club named after the male lover of the king is kind of gay.
Okay.
So-
but that doesn't make one a sex
No,
offender.
no, it doesn't.
Of course, there's nothing wrong
I'm
with
just
consensual
saying
what they
the,
do in their
the
bedroom.
place named after this fella.
Mhm.
So now, when we go into this place,
Gentlemen.
basically what it is, if you go to the actual Pierce Gaveston Society now, it's just a rich party where the elite, the young elite, go and overlay number 6, they dress like transgender prostitutes.
Okay.
Some could say that.
I think they would just say transvestites. We separate
Transvestites,
because they're
that-
not. They don't
that's
identify as another
that's a
gender. It's
great
just a
word.
weird night.
Well, it's a lot of cross-dressing and half-naked people.
Okay, but you
And
just
what-
showed pictures of Victoria's Secret models. I don't see any powerful elites.
Well, these are these are just
Those
the
those aren't.
elite of Oxford.
Okay.
These are just the ones that we have pictures of.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I mean evidence.
Evidence, right. Okay.
So what do they do there? So before we figure out what they do there,
How do you know any of this, Manny?
oh, you just read the news. I know you're far too busy to read all the news.
Right, yeah.
With the show.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
news?
Oh, well, I have my sources.
He has
there.
his sources, Bill.
Yeah,
Let's come on.
Yeah.
He's come in here.
I got
There
the
is.
Guardian. I got all the weird ones that people don't believe, like the Mirror and stuff.
Right,
But,
yeah.
New York Times. There's
Yeah,
plenty
Yahoo
there.
News.
Oh, New
got
York
Vice
Times.
Complex.
Vice.
Yeah.
Yahoo News.
News that when
You
they're
know.
not supporting your theory, you usually hate.
Yeah.
But yes.
So if you go down to the next overlay, what I would like to present to you is that in order for you to
It's like a PowerPoint. This isn't a news source.
in order for you,
need a
to
clicker.
end up somewhere where you might do something sexual with a pig,
Right.
you need, if you go back to the Romans one, basically degeneracy. So you need somewhere where you have access to drugs, sex, and power. And what that equals to is the situation that might have made David Cameron do something with a pig.
Okay.
So let's go to the drugs.
So just
this-
David Cameron, no one else.
well,
Well,
everybody else for sure.
everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
There
come
you
on.
go. There's he just my lifesaver. Get that out of here.
Yeah, hold on.
Don't need it doing
Manny,
here.
Manny, can I ask you this question?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that that a large percentage of these elites who wield excessive amounts of power and have limitless amount of money are doing these things?
100%.
Yes, and they control the government, right?
It's not they control the government.
But they have power within the government, right?
Well, yeah, they're like
Yes.
David Cameron.
Yes. Why are you still alive then?
He won't be after this program.
It's not.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. We're going to be demonetized. He'll be pushing up daisies.
I mean, look, that's just the question I always have is, if you go to someone and you say, look, they have an excessive amount of money and power,
Yeah.
and you believe that they can do all these things and that they can do all these amazing things and they can cover it all up, then how is it that, a 17-year-old anonymous person on 4chan is like...
Is that something to do with controlled opposition, Manny?
No, I think it's something to do with the fact that they love boasting about it. So there's nothing secretive about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will explain. So further down we go to. So now that we've established the decadence of going back to
It is
history.
confirmed.
It has established. Yeah,
So
established.
if we go to overlay number 8, the first ingredient that you need is a massive amount of drugs.
Right.
So this is
Okay.
an article from Daily Mail about the Pierce Gaveston Society parties and what a lot of people disagree with the pig stuff, but they're like, listen, this is just a giant, rave full of
We're just having
all
fun.
sorts of hard
Just having
drugs.
fun.
Yeah, we're
Sure.
just having a party.
I mean, that's not so far-fetched. You have
That's not so far-fetched at all.
Hoover, right, who like to dress up like a dame.
Now, if you go to overlay number 9,
Not
then they're
Herbert
like,
and
okay,
not
so
the vacuum guy.
so there's also the drugs, but because of the drugs, there is our second ingredient, which is a lot of sex, public sex. And in the highlighted part there, this girl's talking about some girl drinking some blood and a party of overlookers wearing pig masks.
Well,
So
this
there's
sounds
a-
like some girl talked about some girl with some...
No,
blood.
she was there. She went there.
Well,
she
I
went
know,
to the
but
party.
did she have any evidence?
Well, they take all your phones before you go in.
Okay.
So-
Well, one does.
Yes. But if we keep going down, so now we got the sex and the drugs.
Okay.
Right? Lots of them.
I don't know if
And
we
these
got
are the
it, but
people
sure,
saying,
yeah.
there's no pig stuff. There's just a lot of orgies out in public on hard drugs.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. But what happens? You know what? You might say, well, this is just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But if we go to the next overlay.
You would say that.
One might
Manny,
say
Manny,
that, or
you-
one might say that there's a lack of evidence.
I was going to say, Manny, you've never been to public school then, but continue.
You went to school in a strip mall in Columbia. That's not a joke. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't
No, that
Florida.
was here.
That was here. I'm sorry.
Fake
Our
high
schooling
school.
system isn't the best.
Columbia, South Carolina. Okay.
So if we go to the next overlay.
All right.
So this is here in America. This is the Orgy Dome in Burning Man, where all it is hard drugs. And Garrett, could you read that last This
now,
is
this is something I don't doubt. Obviously, at Burning Man, and we had these things in Montreal at raves where there's a lot of sex and that kind of. That is a thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
It's
no
a
one's
normal
doubting
thing.
that that's a thing, and no one's doubting that there are weird societies.
You're saying
but-
it's connected?
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying it's normal.
It's normal in certain places where people do this kind of stuff. I mean, it goes
Wait,
back
are
to the
you
Buck
saying
Million.
it's normal?
I don't think it's normal. I'm not a depraved bastard. It's definitely normal for people to engage.
Don't
in
brag, man.
Yeah, Manny, listen, let's set the bar a little higher. What you wanted, Quarter Black Eric, to read the
so
what?
if you read that last overlay,
okay.
this is just something that's people are boasting about on the internet.
Oh no, I don't want to read that.
A dozen or so.
And I don't want to
women
get Ben
took,
Shapiro where these are.
blank-
It's not like I don't want to say the word vagina.
Yeah,
It's just that that's pretty. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you
It
don't
looked
want to
like
read
it was
about.
redacted, so I know.
Yeah, well, I think it was redacted by someone in our edit bay.
Oh.
So we've established this is normal, right? You're
Well,
not
I
even
do know
surprised
there
by
was
this.
actually no. I'm not surprised by it because there was actually Andrew Breitbart talked about this. Not Kevin Jennings was the. Kevin Jennings was the Jeopardy guy, but there was something.
Ken Jennings was the Jeopardy guy.
So maybe it was Kevin Jennings. Maybe Tokunawa can bring this up. There was a guy. I think maybe it might have been Kevin Jennings who did actually teach. And again, warning for people who are out there, you can find this on the old Breitbart site back when it was big Hollywood. Who taught these who spoke about these kinds of sex acts to kids in school, namely something that involved a closed fist. And this was something that was recorded. You can listen to the audio. And I remember people were really outraged. And some people said, well, this is just about advocating safe sex practices, saying, don't do that.
A fist is safe? No,
Yeah, I don't.
it's not.
Well, it's not necessarily safe. It's it depends. It's the Black Power symbol now, so it can mean a lot
how
of
it
things. It could be
works.
Joe Louis when you enter Detroit.
Okay.
It could be power. It could be the Communist Revolutionary Workers Fist, or it could be it's all of the above.
Yeah.
And that was a thing. Go Google Breitbart. I think it was it Jennings? Kevin Jennings? Kevin Jennings. Yeah, that was the story. I remember being shocked, and I didn't think was true. Now, this isn't some secret society, but I was surprised that this was being taught to kids in school, and it was. Okay, continue, and let's wrap this
Back
up.
to the slide deck. Yes.
You were correct that it's not a secret society. That's just normal.
That's
places
sex
in the world that
education.
people do that.
Yeah.
So what's missing in this ingredient? Because we got the parties, we got the Burning Man. Okay,
No, what's
sure.
missing in the pie? It's a missing ingredient in the pie, not missing in the ingredient. It's only one ingredient, but many ingredients make it. You know what? Continue with your thing.
So the factor that's
Semantics.
missing, and you might just be like, well, these are just kids at a party. It's power. So if you go to our next overlay, you will see that actually this happens in Silicon Valley all the time to the tech giants. Eat, drugs, sex, repeat. They have orgies that last days. They do acid. They do
Nerd
Molly, and
orgies.
This is just.
I do know about the ayahuasca.
good.
I'm
but
very
I don't-
disturbed.
You're what?
Do you read Vanity Fair? That was the site.
How else are you
that
going to
was
know
the
about
site.
the ayahuasca swine sex fests?
You're conflicting your drugs here, but
Okay, I apologize.
But again, so these are high people that live in Palo Alto, Mountain View. They work in Silicon Valley. This isn't just people at the desert doing whatever people at the desert might do, right? So what happens
But
when
you do know
have,
people from Silicon Valley go to Burning Man, right?
Oh yeah, of course. They have their own private places where they don't have to go to the orgy dome tent.
Yeah, they got their own.
they are a walking orgy dome.
Not with the peasants.
Yeah, exactly. Like, please.
We're at the Orgy Sky Lounge. High above.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey has his orgy passport. He skips to the front of the line like Disney World.
He gets the punch card.
Global entry.
Yeah. 6 orgies, 7 ones free.
So when you have ton of drugs, ton of sex, and power, what you end up with is a perfect recipe for blackmail. And Kubrick talked about this in his last film, Eyes Wide Shut.
That wasn't his last film, was it?
Which it was his last
film.
He died
He didn't even
before
finish
he
the whole thing.
before he even
that's
finished it.
kind of a swan song.
Well, it was Eyes Wide Shut is basically Kubrick's suicide note, just begging to be taken out. So, and Steven, you're way too busy to actually go into the details of Eyes Wide
that's
Shut.
correct.
We can
That's
dissect
the
the
reason I'm not
symbolism
buying
and
it.
the locations and the shots. And
We don't have
what
the
went
time
where.
to go.
Yeah,
through
we don't
the
have the
whole
time.
thing. It's a
Definitely
lot.
don't have
Give
the
me
time
the
for that.
wrap up, what you
I
actually
thought
think
this
is
was
going
the
on.
truth from according to
It's the
Manny.
truth according to Manning. Yeah, you're right.
Not beat around the bush according
Actually,
to Manny.
this reminds me. I would like to tell everybody to join Mug Club. The only reason why we do any of this is because of Mug Club.
Well,
So
this has
they
nothing to
guess
do with
this-
Mug Club.
And
I want to
any
be
of
clear.
this, I don't know,
This was Manny's own idea.
Oh, we have a lower third?
Yeah, I mean,
This is.
That's not
did he
even
do?
me. He brought it in.
What
I
is
didn't
it?
know what it was.
Oh,
Lower
wow.
color.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just make sure the GIF includes this. All right, Manny. Thanks for doing this to me.
Well, I will wrap this up
Please.
in a nice little bow. So now that we go to our next overlay, we got the ingredients of blackmail. Why do people do bizarre things? They do it because of blackmail. So in the Nexium case, which also happened here in America.
That's not necessarily true. One time
It's
I dropped my
definitely true.
pants and jumped into my pool because Betty was chasing a bullfrog and I thought she was going to drown. That's bizarre, but she wasn't blackmailing me.
Yeah, but you weren't branding yourself in a sex trafficking cult like in the Nexium case.
Okay.
He got you there.
You know?
that's
Or,
true.
I mean, if you just
Touche.
think Jeffrey Epstein had a vast trove of photos in the safe and it was just like his scrapbook.
Yeah.
You're kind of missing the blackmail.
I'm going to say I
angle.
can't dismiss all of this entirely because Epstein was a real person. And that's one of those things where we all go, I don't know, Epstein.
Think about
If you bring up the last over the Nexium case, we have court documents that clearly establish guilty pleas on sex trafficking, violence, psychological abuse, and the ladies there are Hollywood stars who branded themselves as the images show, and they did it because of blackmail because they had things on them.
But I don't know. What does this have to do with pigs?
What does this have to do with pigs? I love that you asked. So before we summarize, I would like
He's
for
playing
you,
10D chess.
I would like
Okay.
for you to consider our next overlay.
Okay.
You know, in the
Is
UK,
this the last one?
This is before the last.
Okay.
You know, Seville, however you say it. You know, Savile.
Yeah, as a Disney
You
character.
know,
from
he
Hunter
was a
Dalmatians, for
serial
sure.
rapist pedophile
Okay.
that attacked at least 500
I understand,
kids.
okay.
That happened in the UK. That's
Okay.
what David Cameron is.
Yeah. I think
so
Steven
now,
is tiring of
we
this.
go-
That's where David Cameron is. They must be doing it together.
It's not they're doing
Have you
it
run a
together.
pedophile watch search in
hold
your
on.
neighborhood?
Hold on. You went from England to Nevada. I think that's where Burning
Exactly,
Man is.
they're
To
everywhere, man.
California.
And it's all the same
Don't you
ingredients.
get it?
Power.
It's a
sex,
pandemic.
Money. Blackmail. So now we'll finalize.
Yeah.
In our last
Please.
overlay,
Mm-hmm.
which someone claimed at one of these gatherings,
Mm-hmm.
where there were in
The
a
same as the
similar
first
gathering, pig heads
Mm.
on stakes.
Okay.
So if you include the sex, the drugs,
Lord of the
people in
Flies
power,
style.
and the accessibility to a dead pig's head, it's not implausible to think that David Cameron might have done, allegedly,
He had
sexual
access to
things with
pig
the
heads.
dead pig.
All right. This is the truth according to Manny. Get the hell out of here. Let's go.
Next time.
Man.
That seems a little
Oh, right. It seems a little
presumptuous. I don't know if
presumptuous.
I don't know. I feel like I'm convinced.
Half Asian Bill is already look. It's
Definitely
an empty. It's just an empty chair.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look, I see an
He's had
empty
enough.
chair by the fire. There we go. So now this can move into a nice earnest close.
Let's get real serious. Real.
What was that last thing about the cube?
The
What?
cube of Saturn. I don't
Yeah,
know.
cube of
Yeah.
Saturn.
I don't,
I'm
I don't want to.
intrigued.
I don't want to do
You
it.
don't have to do it.
No, I don't even. Okay. Cube of Saturn, huh? Well, I guess now you've piqued my curiosity.
Right.
All right. Next week we have Alex Jones on the show. There's a lead-in for that. Alex Jones on the show. We have another Change My Mind on Tuesday, where you get to see the whole saga as it sort of transpired with Antifa. We have the Hodge twins in studio.
Yeah, we do.
And we have a giant live stream on Thursday for the DNC here with you, and it will be 80s night. So drinking game, promo code.
And I feel all right.
Ladies night. And Reg the Bandit, thank you for being here. I know you won't be here next week, but the Hodge
good.
twins will.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you very
That'll
much.
be an upgrade from me.
Well, no, come on. You've been a lot of fun. They're just, blacker. Well, they are at 52%. I think they did 23.
Yeah.
Here's one
Together.
thing I did want to talk about, and this kind of relates to the YouTube remonetization. And I want to make, again, very clear, I couldn't care less if we are demonetized tomorrow. Again, if it means that we still get to reach you and create the content. We've always talked about this. At a certain point, making enough is enough. Everyone here makes a living. We're really grateful that you've supported us, that we did the Mug Club quarantine, that we're still able, and we're able to do a lot of good, like the David Dorn shirts that are available at loudwithcrowdershop.com. So we're really grateful. And at a certain point, what you give up isn't worth what you gain in return. So our priority has never been being remonetized. That's not why these conversations have been taking place. It's just been, well, you know what? When you search Steven Crowder, Change My Mind, abortion, I don't show up. An 8-year-old PBS video with 400 plays shows up, right? These were our primary concerns, or like the Tulsi Gabbard with the election kind of stuff. So these things have been going on for a long time, and we've left a trail of breadcrumbs for you. But I hear a lot of, sometimes you hear these conservatives out there, and a lot of people, period, when they find themselves under fire, they just go hog wild. I don't even want to use that word now after that last segment.
that
but they
was
go hog wild.
too soon.
They say, you know what, I'm
Don't
going
do
to let
that.
it all hang out. And I will say this. Everyone here is what you see is what you get. But of course, in dealing with these things behind the scenes with YouTube or any of the big tech issues like we've had with Facebook before, we have had to be measured. we have had to pull ourselves back sometimes, and not out of concern for ourselves, but out of concern for the next guy coming up the ranks. Because when we have a target on our back, and we do now, you see it coming from The Verge, Mashable, I guarantee you by the time you're watching this, if it's, I don't know, Friday or Saturday, there will be more mainstream press articles claiming that transgender attacks without having watched the video is hate speech, or that our video claiming that Black Lives Matter should be classified as a domestic terrorist organization is hate speech. We have a big target on our back, and if they can make it stick, then they can make it stick on you guys. And so as much as I just like to go, bleh, sometimes we have to pull back because you are the folks that ultimately are our legacy. And, you know, this is something that kind of, it sort of flies in the face of, I had someone say this recently, we hear it so much, I think it's even like a Tim McGraw song, is, you know, live like there's no tomorrow. How often do you hear that, right? Live like there's no tomorrow. Well, there's truth to that, right? Tomorrow is promised to no man, we know that, but it's horrible advice. And it's even more horribly interpreted. People see this often as a meaning that there's nothing else other than now, than this moment. But let me tell you something. There is a whole lot more than now. There's a whole lot more than this moment. There is accountability. There is the eye of God on you, whether you believe it or not. You will have a legacy. After you're gone, your actions will be felt. There is a tomorrow, even if not for you. And like I said, you know, again, the Bible tells us that tomorrow is promised to no man. But really, if you read the context, it's stated to reflect the exact opposite of how the soundbite is received now. And I'm going to tie this back to how it relates to YouTube. See, this idea of live like there's no tomorrow, it's taken to mean, well, we're here a short time, so make it a good time. Have a good time now, enjoy yourself. But again, if tomorrow is promised to no man, if there is no tomorrow for you, and if there is a God, if there's no tomorrow, but your actions will have lasting effects beyond your own life, beyond your own tomorrow, there's no tomorrow for you, but there's a tomorrow and a day after and a day after and a day after and years after, and people will still remember your actions and the example that you set. How would you act today? Not there's no tomorrow, so feel good today, but if you knew that what you did now would affect everybody and leave a lasting impact on the world for potentially decades to come, and we all do, to one degree or another, how would you act today? Would you just enjoy yourself? If you knew that you had, let me give you an example. If you knew that you had stage 4 lung cancer, and let's say you hadn't prepared a will or decided who your kid's godparents were, right? If you knew that you could potentially take your last breath tomorrow, would you say, nah, screw it and have a party today? Or would you get your affairs in order? That's an expression for a reason. It's a silly saying, this live like there's no tomorrow, and it's even dumber when you look at the people who use it to live wrongly. And I'll tell you right now, there may not be a tomorrow. You could die tonight. None of us know when it'll come. It'll come like a thief in the night. But that's the difference between happiness and fulfillment, pleasure versus purpose. And that's where we have brokenness here in this country, whether it relates to riots, whether it relates to young crime, drug use, is that we've conflated this idea of happiness, of pleasure, with fulfillment and purpose. And I'll tell you, it comes straight from the pit of hell. It is not what is meant for your life. And as it relates to YouTube with us, I've seen a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of people in the political movement live like there's no tomorrow, a lot of conservatives. And when we were targeted, what we would have felt best would have been to, throughout this year and a half or even longer, reveal all of this private information with total reckless abandon, to go all guns blazing and just go down in a blaze of glory, right? It would have been cathartic. It would have felt great. But I guarantee you that, listen, it would have been more fun talking back and forth with you for a year and a half and during, okay, let me try and clarify this. It would have been more fun to just go to you and say, look, we're getting banned on social media. How often do you see this? Look, we're getting banned. Oh, please donate to my GoFundMe. That would have been a whole lot more fun if I thought there was no tomorrow than the going back and forth with people at YouTube and Google for a year and a half, during which time it was misrepresented, browbeaten, dismissed. These were not pleasant experiences for me. And there were times where I just wanted to shout what was going on from the rooftops like the Ricola guy. But guess what? There is a tomorrow. Listen, for better or worse, this is, and I would say worse, this is the biggest right-leaning channel ever on YouTube. Ever. I'm a kid from Montreal, over his head. But if I acted irresponsibly, if I acted on my feelings, it would make it that much harder for the next guy trying to come up on YouTube to make some headway on this platform. That's what I have to be concerned with. That's what everyone here has to be concerned with. And that's why it's been a very long year and a half, a pride-swallowing siege that we will never fully tell you about, because there is a tomorrow. And guess what? My legacy, our legacy here is you. And we can't abandon you, even if accidentally, just because we want to act on our feelings. So don't live like there's no tomorrow. Live like your actions will affect those you love, the ones you love most, for the rest of time. All right? Love you guys. See you next week, Monday. Alex Jones.
Subject for today,